Good evening. Welcome to South Asian Newsline. I am Arjun Chaudhary. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Monday, the 9th of November. Myanmar ruling party concedes defeat in national polls. China offers to host Afghan peace talks. And Indians mark dhanteras by purchasing gold. And now for all the details. In India, the Bihar poll outcome has come as a big disappointment for Narendra Modi, who staked a lot in the campaign, was its most visible face, and addressed more rallies than any other Prime Minister in a state election. Some analysts, however, believe Prime Minister Modi led 4 provinces to victory, and Bihar slipping out to the Grand Alliance is a flash in the pan.
Celebrations continue in India's third most populous state, Bihar. This was the battleground between Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Bharatiya Janata Party, or the BJP, and a grand alliance of his opponents over the last 5 weeks. But voters rejected the mandate of the BJP-led National Democratic Alliance, instead giving the Socialist Coalition a powerful 2/3 majority to form the state government. The defeat has led many opponents of Prime Minister Modi to claim that the alleged intolerance towards minorities in India is denting his image.
पिछड़े वर्गों के लोगों ने, अत्यंत पिछड़े वर्गों के लोगों ने, अल्पसंख्यक समाज के लोगों ने और उच्च जात के गरीब लोगों ने भी कमोबेश भारतीय जनता पार्टी और दिल्ली की सरकार के खिलाफ डट करके मतदान किया और मैंडेट दिया है.
Meanwhile, BJP leaders claim that their coalition's defeat is not a wider reflection on the policies of the Modi government, but because of the unity of the opposition and regional parties.
जब अभी हम महाराष्ट्र के चुनाव जीते, जम्मू कश्मीर में चुनाव जीते, हम झारखंड में चुनाव जीते, हम हरियाणा में चुनाव जीते, तो हमने कोई केंद्र सरकार के जनमत संग्रह के रूप में उसे नहीं बताया था. तो इसलिए कोई भी विधानसभा का चुनाव जो है वो केंद्र सरकार का जनमत संग्रह नहीं होता.
The defeat is likely to weigh heavily on the Prime Minister's mind, as he needs a majority in the upper house of Parliament, whose members are selected by state assemblies, to push through key economic and political reforms. And some analysts say Mr. Modi will need to now hard sell his Make in India campaign during his upcoming visit to the United Kingdom.
The personality of Modi, there cannot be changed. He is a fighter. He goes for kill. His DNA is to ensure that things accomplish. In Bihar, he might have failed. Yes, definitely he failed. His strategy failed. BJP also should not have projected a stature of a prime minister in a state election.
In international circles, Mr. Modi is seen as a mascot of change in India. But in domestic ones, his promise of development for all may now take longer to deliver.
Moving on to news from Afghanistan. China has proposed to facilitate peace talks between the Afghan government and Taliban if all the stakeholders desire so. The statement comes at a time when a splinter group of Taliban has expressed willingness to resume dialogue with the Afghanistan government.
China has proposed to revive the stalled peace talks between the Afghan government and Taliban insurgents. The peace talks had collapsed in July following the confirmation of death of longtime Taliban Supreme Leader Mullah Omar. China's Special Envoy for Afghanistan, Deng Xinjun, who is visiting Kabul, said Beijing could host peace talks but refused to mediate. The renewed effort to resume negotiations comes at a time when an Afghan Taliban splinter group, which rejected Mullah Akhtar Mansoor as successor of Omar, has expressed its readiness to talk peace with the Afghan government. The dissident group, which recently elected Mullah Muhammad Rasool as its new leader, says it has no problem in entering into peace talks with the government. China has in the past facilitated a meeting between Afghan High Peace Council official Masoom Stanekzei and Taliban representatives. This was followed by a rare face-to-face meeting between Afghan government officials and senior Taliban cadres on July 7th this year, hosted by Pakistan. However, the Afghan government has recently asserted that it will no longer seek Islamabad's help in the peace process as it continues to provide shelter to Taliban leaders on its soil.
Meanwhile, Pakistan's Army Chief Raheel Sharif will begin a 5-day visit to the United States next week. Pakistan's nuclear program and the situation in Afghanistan will top the agenda of his talks with the political and military leadership of the US. A report.
Pakistan Army Chief Raheel Sharif will be visiting United States for 5 days beginning November 15th. Pakistan's nuclear program is likely to dominate talks. Pakistan is eager to sign a nuclear deal with the US similar to that of India. The visit comes a month after Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif visited Washington and met US President Barack Obama and other senior officials. Prior to the PM's visit, there were speculations of an agreement which would have mainstreamed Pakistan's nuclear program while imposing some restrictions on its weapons program. If materialized, the deal would have enabled Islamabad to join the nuclear supplies group. However, in the absence of such an agreement, the two sides then refrained from signing the civil nuclear deal. General Sharif during his visit will also discuss the reconciliation process between Afghanistan government and Taliban and also Pakistan's ongoing military operations against militancy in its northwestern tribal areas.
Pakistan has invited Indian Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj for a regional conference on Afghanistan to be held in Islamabad in December. The move comes at a time when the ties between India and Pakistan have deteriorated over recent border skirmishes. The Heart of Asia Conference, which will be held on December 7 and 8, has been convened to discuss the present situation in Afghanistan with special focus on reviving the war-torn country's economy. Representatives from China, India, Iran, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Turkey and the UAE are scheduled to attend the meet. The acting chairman of Myanmar's ruling Union Solidarity and Development Party or USDP, Tae Hu has conceded defeat in the country's general election even before the result has been announced. Myanmar went to polls on Sunday, in which the National League for Democracy is expected to emerge as winner.
Even as official results are awaited, the acting chairman of Myanmar's ruling party, USDP, Tae Hu, on Monday conceded defeat in the general election. The ruling party is likely to lose to Nobel laureate Aung San Suu Kyi's party, National League of Democracy or NLD, which is expected to sweep parliamentary polls. People who turned out in large numbers to exercise their franchise are eagerly waiting for the results. The election is considered to be the most free and fair in Myanmar in decades. The NLD needs to win more than two-thirds of the majority to form its own government. But the ruling military-backed USDP would need far fewer seats as 1/4 of legislative seats are already reserved for unelected members of the armed forces.
A Sri Lankan man has been charged with planning a sniper attack on Maldives President Abdullah Yameen. The 27-year-old was arrested on October 24 for allegedly conspiring to assassinate the president. Authorities have linked the incident to a blast on President Yameen's boat in September and discovery of explosives near his residence last month. Authorities state that there could be more attacks on the president. Though the sniper's rifle is yet to be found, police have recovered a telescope and bullets used in the rifle. Abdullah Yameen had declared a month-long state of emergency in the country after many firearms and explosives were recovered near his residence. With infrastructure falling apart, life has become a daily struggle for people in Pakistan-administered Kashmir. They say rampant corruption has stalled development in the region. A report.
Most parts of Pakistan-administered Kashmir are cut off from the rest of the world in absence of proper road connectivity, making life difficult for locals. They have to negotiate through difficult terrain, risking their life while carrying out their daily routine work. And political parties find it most convenient to pass the buck to previous governments for the region's present pathetic situation. Recently, former Prime Minister of the region and leader of the main opposition, Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz Raja Farooq Haider, took on Pakistan-administered Kashmir's ruling Pakistan People's Party for the poor state of infrastructure. He also alleged that there was a nexus between the government and contractors, resulting in delay in projects.
ये जो हमारे रोड्स का मामला है, इसमें बेशुमार खराबी नजर आई है. अपना ये क्या कहते हैं इसे कि टेंडर का जो है वो जो उसका जो प्रोसेस था वो ठीक नहीं किया गया, अलॉटमेंट ठीक नहीं की गई है, अपने लोगों को पैसे दिए गए, फिर मोबिलाइजेशन एडवांस लेकर उसके बाद काम को छोड़ दिया गया. इसी तरह से जो हमारा बिल्डिंग का मामला है, जो हमारा जो PPH है, उसके अंदर बेशुमार शिकायतें हैं कि विदाउट प्रॉपर टेंडरिंग जो है नोटिस के वो काम जो है वो करोड़ों रुपए के अलॉट कर दिए गए. तो ये सारी जो है खराबियां जो है ये इस हुकूमत के जो है ये खाते में.
Locals in Pakistan-administered Kashmir claim that Pakistani authorities have given a free run to their favoured bureaucrats who are looting the public exchequer at the cost of the development of the region.
Hindus across India went into a gold-buying frenzy to mark Dhanteras. The festive fervour has reached its crescendo as people gear up for Diwali or Festival of Lights.
Jewellery shops across India buzzed with buyers as the country marked Dhanteras on Monday. Dhanteras is a day when people buy new things ranging from gold, utensils to precious metals. In Western Nagpur, customers turned up in large numbers to buy precious metals.
धनतेरस में इस बार भी हम सोने या चांदी का कुछ यूटेंसिल या फिर कुछ गणेश जी का आइडिया या लक्ष्मी जी का आइडिया लेंगे. अगर आप कुछ भी चांदी सोने का सामान घर पर लेकर आते हैं और अगर आप लक्ष्मी जी की मूर्ति या गणेश जी की मूर्ति लेकर आते हैं तो आपके घर में धन की वर्षा तो ऑफ कोर्स नहीं होगी, बट या कुछ अच्छी खबर सुनने मिलेगी या फिर कुछ अच्छा होगा साल भर अगले आने वाले साल में.
The dip in gold prices also made the day more special for buyers.
पिछले 2-3 दिनों में जो सोने के भाव कम हुए हैं, सोने और चांदी दोनों के भाव कम हुए, इसमें अभी खरीदारी काफी निकली है. कस्टमर लोग अभी काफी मार्केट में परचेसिंग कर रहे हैं.
As the big day of Diwali comes closer, revelers are geared up for big purchases. People are splurging on firecrackers to decorations to greet the festival. Diwali, the festival of lights, is celebrated in honor of Lakshmi, the Hindu goddess of wealth and prosperity. During the festival, households are beautifully decorated with lights and lamps, and fireworks lit up the night sky.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. Myanmar ruling party concedes defeat in national polls. China offers to host Afghan peace talks. And Indians mark Dhanteras by purchasing gold. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.